Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? Thank you. Thank you.
Please be seated. Good afternoon. All right, this is going to be a tough crowd to quiet, I think. No entree unless everyone gets seated. Thank you. Thank you, Kim Tavares from the Boston Police Department, for an outstanding rendition of the national anthem. All right, folks. That wasn't me, but thank you. Good afternoon, everyone, to kind of the first big spring event of the year. Kind of hard to consider it that with the snow on the ground outside and 16-degree weather this morning. But we welcome you. On behalf of the directors and the staff, welcome to the 87th annual meeting of the Research Bureau. We are very pleased to have you here. I'm Tom Samoluk. I'm with John Hancock, and I'm the outgoing chair of the board of the Research Bureau as of about a half hour ago. You'll hear from my successor, but I've learned quickly when you're out, you're out. But I do have a couple of last tasks before I turn things over to my successor, Marty Jones, and our new president, as of a half hour ago, the new president of the Research Bureau, Pam Coker. So you'll be hearing from both of them. This annual meeting is always an exciting time. We have the mayor here, who is always at this event and always at the Shattuck Awards, which many of you attend to reward and honor some of the great employees of the city of Boston. So we get to hear from the mayor today. We have a great mix of business, government, political, and institutional leaders who attend. And I'd like to specifically acknowledge a few individuals who are here with us today. We counted how many representatives from the mayor's administration are here. It was 47. It's too many to mention individually, but we do want to recognize the mayor's senior team in attendance today. They are cabinet officers, department heads, and other senior officials from the city and the schools, and we welcome and thank. If I could ask, if you are in part of the mayor's administration, if you could stand up and so we can give you a round of applause. Please stand. They truly work tirelessly with the mayor for the citizens of the great city of Boston. I also want to welcome members of the Boston City Council who are equally dedicated to working with the Research Bureau, and we look forward in 2019 to that continuing. City Council President Andrea Campbell is here, and is the City Council President over there? Councilor Mark Siomo is here, I believe. Councilor Lydia Edwards, also here. Thank you, Councilor. I saw Councilor Michael Flaherty earlier. He's over there. That's the table. That's a very heavy table over there. Councilor Ed Flynn is also with us. Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Matt O'Malley. Thank you, Councilor. And I saw Councilor Josh Zakum earlier. He is also with us. Thank you. And we're equally pleased to also recognize and thank Representative from the 3rd Suffolk District, Representative Mikowitz is with us today. Round of applause for him. And Representative Dave Rogers from the 24th Middlesex District is also here. Representative, round of applause for Representative. Straight back. And I am pleased to also welcome Lori Higgins, who joins us again, who I have the pleasure of sitting next to for the 4th year in a row, I think. Glad to have Lori here. And I also want to thank all of you who support the Research Bureau. Those of you who are members and contribute your dues to support the work that the Research Bureau does, and all of you others in the room who support this event and help the Research Bureau do the great work day in and day out. So thank you to help by making the Research Bureau successful. Now, I would be remiss if I did not particularly thank all of the sponsors of today's event. Our premier sponsors are Blue Cross Blue Shield of Massachusetts, Citizens Bank, Comcast NBC Universal, John Hancock, KPMG, Veolia. A round of applause for our premier sponsors. And a big round of applause for the reception sponsor, which is P&G Gillette. Thank you again. Thank you, Kara. And I should note that there are many other sponsors, too. Too many to mention, but we thank them, and they are also listed in your program for today. At this time, we get to take a break. You can enjoy your lunch, the company at your tables. Okay, as we continue the program, I wanted to take a few minutes to talk a little bit about the Research Bureau. As I come to the close of my term as chairman of the Bureau, I look back and see an organization that is completely dedicated to its mission of 87 years, one that works tirelessly to improve our great city, an organization that is fair and factual, that cares about the future of the city, and will always advocate for what is good for the entire city, regardless of the sometimes difficult positions that must be taken in the short term. I look back and I see an organization made up of members and directors who are constant in pushing the Research Bureau forward and who never tire of that responsibility. I see a staff that is tremendously dedicated and always passionate about their work. In looking back, I like what I see, and I'm happy to report that as I leave my role as chair, that the Research Bureau is well positioned for the future and fully committed to its mission. Now, last year, our research involvement covered a wide range of city issues that benefited from the expert research and insights of the Research Bureau. Our time was occupied with the appointed school board, city finances, housing, pilots, and lately proposals from city councilors, such as the Fair Work Week Ordinance. Our impact last year and for the last 46 years has been possible because of the leadership of the president of this valued organization, Sam Tyler. Now, That means he's going to get 2 applauses, but everyone jumped in. That was very nice. As you all know, Sam has announced his retirement, and this became official at our board meeting earlier today. Under Sam's leadership, the Research Bureau has played a dominant role in promoting responsible and efficient government for Boston and being a catalyst for needed change. The Research Bureau and the City of Boston have benefited greatly from Sam's leadership and dogged advocacy over the past 46 years, for which we are most grateful. Please join me again in thanking Sam for all he has done for the Research Bureau, the City of Boston, and the Commonwealth, and wishing him well in his future endeavors. I want to make sure that you're all aware that stay tuned for a spring tribute to Sam. We thought about doing a lot of things at this meeting, but we said, let's have a party for Sam. Let's make it all about Sam. And he fought us, but we finally got him to say that he would show up on the right date when we announced that. So we're looking forward to that and hope that all of you can attend. At our board meeting, we elected a new chair for 2019, Marty Jones, and a new president of the Research Bureau, Pam Coker. Pam was appointed vice president of policy and research in March of 2017, 2 years ago, as part of our strategic plan. She brings to the Bureau extensive professional experience working with cities and towns across Massachusetts, including Boston, on a wide range of local and state government policy and finance matters with a focus on best practices. Pam provided state fiscal and management oversight of the City of Lawrence for both the Baker and Patrick administrations. She served as Director of Local Policy in Governor Patrick's Executive Office of Administration and Finance, and as Senior Research Analyst for the Massachusetts Municipal Association. She is indeed a resident of Boston. She holds a Bachelor of Arts in Urban Studies from Connecticut College and a Master's of Public Health from Boston University. Please join me in welcoming the new president of the Research Bureau, Pam Coker.
Thank you and good afternoon. Thank you, Tom, for your leadership and support as board chair for the past 2 years. I am deeply honored to succeed our longtime president, Sam Tyler, who institutionalized the Research Bureau's role as an objective, fact-based voice of reason with 4 mayoral administrations and many city councils. Thank you, Sam, for that enduring legacy of ongoing impact. That's seriously big shoes to fill, folks, and I'm up to the challenge. My grandparents grew up in Boston's Jamaica Plain neighborhood and went to the Boston Public Schools. As Tom alluded to, today I am proud to be a city resident, to be combining my personal stake and love for this city with my new professional leadership role. Mayor Walsh, I look forward to working with you and your team in my new role. To our city councilors, I look forward to continued conversations with you. And to our state officials serving in the legislature and the Baker administration, I look forward to engaging with you as well. As you know, the Research Bureau brings expert research, independent analysis, and trusted insights to city finances and essential services, and to new challenges in our changing city. We do this with data and sometimes tough love. Yes, I do seem polite, even diplomatic, and very short. I had to get a stool. But I am up to the task. I am also a women's ice hockey player. And in fact, I had a game last night, and my team won. So just as the city looks to adapt and address new challenges, the Research Bureau will continue to adapt as well to ensure that we effectively deliver our analysis and our insights to our members, to city officials, to the public, and to the media. This is our intention for continued impact. Both this thoughtful leadership transition today and our recent communications initiative are part of our 5-year strategic plan. All of us in this room today are here together because of our shared commitment to the city of Boston as the host community for our home life and/or our work life. Commitment to good, impactful government. It's a team sport. And I am so excited to be executing the Research Bureau's role in this city and contribution as part of this large group here today. It's about engaging in community, where local government directly impacts those who live and work in a community on a very tangible, very visible, day-to-day basis. A city is a dynamic ecosystem where many things need to work well together. And they need to work together well when there's always a challenge to tackle, a puzzle to solve, and a need to figure out how to make things work, and the need to solve it together. This has been the work of the Research Bureau for 87 years now. Our mission is timeless, whether it is legacy issues coming to the forefront yet again, or the need to respond to the impact of climate change, city population growth, and disruptive technologies. With your partnership, the Research Bureau is a force for constructive change that helps Boston do what it wants to do and needs to do for those who love, labor, and live in this city. Because all of us, in our own way and together, are in the business of moving Boston forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Pam. The Research Bureau is clearly in good hands and well-positioned to carry on the Research Bureau's mission. Pam is ready. As I mentioned earlier, we also elected a new chair of the Research Bureau for a 2-year term. Many of you know Marty Jones, and I've had the pleasure of working with her the last couple of years, with her in the capacity as vice chair, and she too is ready for this leadership role with the Bureau. So it is my pleasure to introduce Marty Jones of MLJ Insights as the next chair of the Research Bureau. It's all yours, Matt.
You're staying here for a minute. All right. Good afternoon, everybody. I am truly honored to serve as the Research Bureau's chair at this important time for the organization. It's a time of transition in leadership, but it's also a time for us of continuity in the great work and impact the Bureau has had over its 87 years. I do need to take a few minutes right now to thank Tom for his leadership of the Bureau over the past 2 years. Tom is an exemplary business leader, a passionate city cheerleader, and everybody who's worked with him as part of his Bureau role over the past 2 years know he has been an outstanding leader for us as we've implemented our succession plan and strategic plan for the Bureau's future. Tom, as chair in training under your tutelage, I've appreciated your guidance, your insights, and the way you always manage to insert a bit of humor into everything we do in leading the Bureau. Thank you for all you've done for the Research Bureau, and now in great Research Bureau tradition, I'm pleased to present our outgoing chair with a chair. You don't often see Tom sitting down, so this is a little unusual. Thank you. Good. We are lucky to live in a thriving city. However, with growth, there always come not just opportunities, but challenges facing the city. I look forward to working with our new president, Pam Coker, the Research Bureau Board of Directors, our outstanding staff, and the mayor and council to meet these challenges and opportunities. As has long been Research Bureau tradition, this is also the time the mayor presents what we fondly call his second State of the City address. He really needs no introduction to all of you in this room today. Mayor Walsh was sworn in to serve a second term on January 1st, 2018 as Boston's 54th mayor. He's a proud product of the city of Boston and driven to make sure that Boston continues to be a world-class city. His focus is not just on the dynamic parts of the city like the Seaport that we're in the midst of today, but on the things that will keep Boston competitive in the future, making sure our kids get educated and the skills they need to compete in the next workforce, providing housing for the wide range of people that want to call this city their home, and then spending time, of course, on the nuts and bolts of keeping the city running, like a little bit of snow that we had to deal with on Monday. Mayor Walsh, we are delighted that you have joined us again today. Welcome.
Thank you, Marty, and I want to congratulate you on ascending to the chair of this great organization, and we'll have many great conversations and work together, so thank you for that. To Tom, congratulations. I want to thank Tom publicly for being such a great friend to the City of Boston in so many different ways. You did an amazing job here at the Municipal Research Bureau, but also thank you for all the other things that people don't see that you do, and you were a great chairman, so thank you, Tom. When I announced last year that Sam Tyler was retiring by accident from this podium for the third or fourth time, I've been looking forward to this day for a long time. Not because he's retiring, of course, but I thought it was going to be a roast. And unfortunately, it's not a roast. I have to wait for later on to roast him. But I had a conversation last night with Sam, and Sam, I just want to say, on behalf of, for me personally, I want to thank you for your leadership here at the Bureau. I didn't quite, as a state representative prior to being the mayor, didn't quite understand the importance of the Bureau's involvement in the City of Boston until I actually got into it. After a couple of comments in the paper that you gave that I yelled at you about and you yelled at me back about, I realized that the importance of this organization. So I want to thank you for working with our administration, first as a young administration, now getting into our, I guess, we're not even halfway through. I'm not even done yet, but we're going to keep working on it. I want to thank you for all that you've done, all you've done for the City of Boston. I want to thank you for all of the people that don't understand the impact that you've had on their lives, not just the folks that work for the City of Boston, but the people that live in the City of Boston. So thank you, and congratulations on your retirement. And I look forward to that date down the road. So it's going to be fun. Tomorrow is International Women's Day. So it's fitting today that the Bureau has a female chair and its first female president. I want to congratulate you, Pam. We've already had one meeting the other day. I want to congratulate you and look forward to working with you on that tough love and working with you as how we continue to move this great city of Boston forward. The Bureau is an important part of our city, and I know that our team that's here today and many other folks that are at City Hall working are looking forward to continuing a great relationship with the Bureau, so congratulations to you. In my State of the City address in January, I reflected on our progress over the last 5 years. We're proud of the achievements here in the City of Boston. But I also said that day, we're just getting started. So today I'm going to begin by talking about not the last 5 years. I'm not even going to talk about over the last year. I want to share some of what we've done in just the first 9 weeks of 2019. We broke ground on 4 housing renovations in Roxbury, the South End, South Boston. Those developments are preserving or creating more than 900 deeply affordable units. We released over $26 million in funds to create another 500 homes in 7 different neighborhoods around the City of Boston. We added over 1,000 new homes to the development pipeline. We recommended, and yesterday the City Council, and thank you to the City Council, approved $34 million in new funding for the Community Preservation Act for affordable housing, open space, and historic preservation in 56 projects across 20 different neighborhoods in our city. We conducted our annual homeless census. We secured a $26 million grant for homeless services. And we grew the Boston's Way Home Fund, getting over halfway to our goal of $10 million to create 200 units of permanent supportive housing for chronically homeless people. We launched Boston's first economic development center with workshops in Mattapan and Roxbury. These workshops were on city contracting and owning a business. And we graduated the first class of City Academy to train local residents how to obtain city jobs. I went to to Washington for the U.S. Conference of Mayors to discuss infrastructure and the needs and economic strategies in American cities. We took action to defend Title IX protections for survivors of sexual assault. We raised awareness of commercial sexual exploitation in an event that was co-hosted by the Boston Police Department and our Office of Women's Advancement and Advocates. I signed an executive order to ensure racial equity in city government. We're going to train employees on how to design policy and deliver services that close racial gaps from public health to business ownership. And we'll measure our performances against equity goals. In the past 9 weeks, we extended our record streak of AAA bond rating for 6 consecutive years. We issued a building permit for Amazon's new location down here in the South Boston waterfront. It will employ over 2,000 workers and fund job training programs for our residents. We permitted 700,000 square feet of innovation and community space at the former Boston Globe property in Dorchester. We celebrated the 50th anniversary of City Hall and previewed our next steps in our revitalization of City Hall Plaza. And we capped it off with a trade mission to Cape Verde to strengthen cultural connections in our neighborhoods and open up transatlantic opportunities for Boston businesses. We are working hard for our city because our city is a hardworking city. And much of this time, the federal government was shut down. Dysfunction ruled, and people suffered. We're doing things very differently in Boston. We work hard, we work smart, we work together. And it's our work that defines our vision for Boston. It's a city of growing economic opportunity. It's a city of equity where everyone contributes and everyone benefits. And it's a city of resilience, committed to leaving an even stronger Boston for the next generation. That's why we've taken on tough challenges. A housing shortage developed over many years, so we created a housing plan. Now we're building enough homes and affordable homes to house our growing population and to preserve our existing neighborhoods. Community police relations is a national challenge, so we developed a model building trust and reducing crime every single year. Boston's school buildings suffered decades of neglect. With over 100 community meetings and $1 billion investment, our Build BPS plan is creating 21st century schools. In each of these areas, long-term issues became present-day problems. So we engaged our communities, we created a bold plan, and we turned the trends around. We're improving life in our city now and for years to come. And today, I want to talk about 3 issues where trends are coming to a head and testing our capacity for collective action. They're transportation, education, and climate change. And to put it simply, you can't grow our economy if we don't move people where they want to go. We can't share opportunity if we don't invest in the next generation. And we won't have a future if we're underwater. And that's a serious point. And thank you for the laugh. I'm going to take a drink of water right now. We've taken big steps forward in each of these different areas. But there's more work to be done. And the stakes are high. So I'm going to talk about the plans and our progress. I'm also going to highlight where we need strong partnerships across every level of government in the private sector if we're going to keep thriving as a city and as a region. Transportation is a perfect example. Traffic is a sign of our success, but it's also a threat to our growth, our environment, and our quality of life. That's why we worked with the public to create a transportation plan for our city. It was called Go Boston 2030. We are implementing key recommendations of that plan, and they're making a difference. Last year, we installed a dedicated bus lane on Washington Street in Rosendale. On a route that sees 19,000 bus trips every single day, it cut travel times on that street by 25%. We were also advocated for more early morning bus service to help workers on the 3rd shift. The T piloted this service and made it permanent. To improve commutes, we retimed dozens of traffic lights. And now we're working with the state on a pilot for adaptive traffic signals that respond to real-time conditions. That means less waiting at red lights. 2 years ago, we increased parking meter rates in some of our most congested neighborhoods. As a result, double parking violations dropped by 14%, and parking in loading zones fell by nearly 30%. To improve access to cycling, we built protected bike lanes on Mass Ave, Summer Street, Causeway Street, and Commercial Street, with more to come. And with the support of Blue Cross Blue Shield, we brought bike sharing to more neighborhoods across our city. Last year, Blue Bike's use was up 24% to a record 1.7 million rides in the city of Boston. Last month, a new water shuttle pilot launched connecting North Station to the South Boston waterfront. It serves over 700 people a day and cuts commute times by over 10 minutes. Most important, we've invested in safety on our streets. We're redesigning high-risk intersections. We lowered the default speed limit to 25 miles per hour. And we've seen fatalities on our roads go down from 21 in 2016 to 14 in 2017 to 10 last year. But, thank you. But our policy is called Vision Zero. It means that one tragedy is too many. So we're going to work with the City Council and the Legislature to lower the speed limit on neighborhood streets to 20 miles per hour. And something that we have to do, we're going to develop a citywide education campaign on road safety for everyone. We need everyone to be more mindful on our streets. These steps and many others are working. But to build the future we want, we have to do more than transform our infrastructure, not just as a city, but as a region. We need our streets to work better and be safer for everyone. We need to invest in more frequent, more accessible, and more reliable public transit across our region. And we must take biking and walking and make them more viable options for more people. So we're asking the legislature for partnership. We have a bill that will require safeguards on trucks, as we have done on city vehicles, to protect cyclists. We are seeking to allow photo enforcement to prevent vehicles from passing stopped school buses and endangering our kids, and to enforce block-the-box violations that causes gridlock. And we support the efforts to reduce distracted driving by allowing hands-free cell phone use. We also have proposed legislation to manage the growth of rideshare services. Uber and Lyft have changed the way people travel. they've provided convenience. But with 35 million trips a year in Boston alone, they've also increased congestion and confusion, especially during the rush hour. We need to find ways to make these ride shares work better. We're taking steps at the city level. This month, we're launching a pilot program in the Fenway to assign Uber and Lyft pickup to designated areas similar to cab stands to improve traffic flow. But we need to go further. So our bill would update the surcharge already being assessed to ride shares to better align with our transportation goals. We'd charge more for single passenger trips, creating an incentive that will cut congestion and emissions on our city streets. And finally, I want to discuss public transit. We need great public transit for our region, in our region, for it to thrive. It cuts congestion, it reduces emissions, and expands opportunity. That's why last month we launched the city's first transit team, a staff dedicated to working with the MBTA on improving service. Building off of the success of the bus lanes in Rosendale, this year we'll pilot new bus lanes on Brighton Ave in Allston and North Washington Street in downtown Boston. We'll also start community outreach on how to deliver better bus services on Blue Hill Ave. Our goal is to expand access and increase equity. That's why, starting next year, we're also going to provide free MBTA passes to every student, 7th to 12th grade in our city, whether they go to a public school, a charter school, a private school, or parochial school. This will take cars off the road. It will open up our city to more for our young people, and it will foster a new generation of transit riders and transit advocates. I want to take a minute to thank Steve Poftak, the new general manager of the MBTA, for his partnership, and Steve is here today. Thank you, Steve. Yesterday, I joined Steve and the governor to celebrate the new Blue Hill Ave station on the Fairmont line in Mattapan. This station is already cutting some residents' commutes by 20 minutes to get access into Boston and access to jobs. It's a good example of why we welcome the MBTA's $8 billion investment over the next 5 years. I also understand there's a need for more revenue. I have long called for more investment at the T as a state representative and as mayor. But any funding plan must be equitable, transparent, and strategic. So I also need to address the proposed fare increase. I have concerns about the impact on seniors and young people, our most transit-dependent riders. Furthermore, if you are going to raise fares, you have to explain exactly how the new revenue will improve service. The MBTA must show that the benefits to riders offset the negative impacts of higher fares. That's how we've approached the revenue challenge here in Boston. We've raised parking meter fines and fees. These aren't usually popular moves, but we took them because they moved us in a direction our residents want and need to go: less congestion, new investments, and better transportation. And we told them all along the case why we were raising the fees and where they were going. People like to know what they're getting when they provide more revenue. That's why we support legislation to enable regional ballot initiatives for transportation. This is a tool that communities can choose to create a dedicated source of revenue to invest in specific projects. This proposal has been used successfully across the country to bring better transit to cities like Denver, Indianapolis, and a whole new subway line to Los Angeles. I also look forward to more conversations on this measure and other strategies for updating our infrastructure and working closely with the state and the federal government and all of us together. And to be clear, what will cost us the most is doing absolutely nothing. If we don't act, carbon emissions will pose a threat to both public health and economic growth. The good news is that we've made Boston a global leader on climate change and coastal resilience. And this year, we've extended our leadership with the Carbon-Free Boston Report. It's a roadmap to our goal of being a 100% carbon-neutral city by the year 2050. The report shows that in order to reach our goals, we need to drive less and use more public transportation. Investing in the MBTA is not a choice, it's a necessity. We need to transition both our buildings and our vehicles to electric energy and from renewable sources. We need to send less waste to incinerators, and we need to make all of these changes in ways that are cost-effective and equitable. These are certainly ambitious goals, but we are an innovative city, and we are moving forward in each of these different areas. On building retrofits, we have created Renew Boston Trust, a financing model built on future energy savings. We'll be using it to fund solar panels, LED lights, insulation, and more in our libraries, community centers, police stations, and firehouses. We're going to keep growing the program, and we'll share our experience for private property owners to draw on as well. We'll be launching stronger reporting requirements for large and medium-sized buildings. This spring, we'll ask for action plans as well as energy data. On waste reduction, last year we set out to learn how we can reduce, recycle, or compost 90% of our solid waste by the year 2050. This month, we'll get recommendations from our Zero Waste Advisory Committee on how to achieve this goal, in time to inform new contracts for yard waste and recycling. On renewable energy, this year we're taking a major step forward by launching our community choice policy, which was passed by the Boston City Council, and I'd like to thank them for that. Residents will combine their purchasing power to make renewable energy our city's affordable and sustainable choice. We convened a community conversation to begin the rollout. We're also supporting the growth of electric vehicles. We're going to be installing electric vehicle charging stations in municipal lots available to the public. We're going to make sure that all new spaces in city parking garages support electric vehicles. And we're going to be requiring that all new private garages have at least 25% of their spaces and 100% of them wired for future capacity. While reducing the emissions that drive climate change, we must also protect Boston from the flood risks caused by climate change. Last year, we launched Resilient Boston Harbor. It's a plan for open space all along the waterfront to protect our people, our homes, and our businesses. Already, we've completed resilient plans for East Boston and Charlestown and South Boston. And now we're planning for downtown and the North End is underway, with the first community meeting happening next Tuesday. And this summer, we'll launch Climate Ready Dorchester. When it's complete, we'll have detailed resilient plans along our almost 47-mile coastline in the city of Boston, as well as planning that we're investing. In the 2020 budget, we'll meet our target of 10% of all capital spending going to resilient projects. And we're moving forward with implementation at key flood points. At Four Point Channel, in addition to city investments, we've applied for $10 million FEMA funding. I want to thank the state for choosing our proposal to represent Massachusetts in this grant process. In June, we're going to be opening Martins Park, Boston's newest public playground. It will welcome children of all abilities and provide the highest standards of flood protection. I'd like to thank the Martin Richard Foundation and our funders for their partnership here. This month, we'll present the Moakley Park Vision Plan to the residents of South Boston. We'll work together to make this 60-acre waterfront park a welcoming and protective community asset. Similar upgrades are happening in Langone Park and Pupilo Park on the North End. They're going to begin this spring. We're moving forward, but we have a long way to go. So I want to thank the Governor and the Speaker and the Senate President for making resilient funding a priority. A true statewide conversation is taking shape. And once again, I invite all property owners and business leaders in this room and in this city and philanthropists to engage with us if you already haven't. Climate action is the defining challenge of our time. Everyone's future is at stake. Making Boston better for the next generation is what it's all about. So I need to conclude today by talking about education funding. In this year's budget, we propose in the City of Boston to invest $1.14 billion in Boston Public Schools, the most in our city's history. The new investments will sustain our progress towards universal pre-kindergarten, grow vocational programs and support at-risk high school students, expand services that help families navigate the system, strengthen science instruction. We're also going to fund the important step of bringing the exam school test into every student's school in 6th grade. This move will increase access and expand opportunity. Overall, we're proposing a $26 million increase that will keep us at the forefront of student spending, both statewide and nationally. Since 2014, our investments have grown by 25% to over $20,000 per student. We've lengthened the school day. We've added 1,000 pre-kindergarten seats. We've strengthened our curriculum. We've modernized our facilities. These investments have produced results. We have more high-performing schools than ever before. Our graduation rate had just reached a new record high. And we're one of the few urban districts making consistent gains on national tests. But progress takes more than investment. It takes reform. We've spent the past 5 years untangling decades of systematic problems. Neglected facilities, over 20 different grade configurations, redundant programs, and unaccountable spending. These are problems that prevent some of our students from getting what they need. So we've gone hard at these issues. And to be perfectly honest, I'm not satisfied with the progress. It's been strong in some areas, but too slow in too many others. So we're going to keep working at it. We're going to keep putting our kids first, our students first. But I also want to be clear about what we're asking our school communities to accomplish. Boston serves more high-need students than any other district in the state. Twice the rate of economic disadvantage, 3 times the rate of English language learners. And if you take all students across Massachusetts who have multiple challenges, who face poverty, language barriers, and disabilities all at the same time, the Boston Public Schools serves 43% of those students. For the state to be serious about closing achievement gaps, those students must be at the heart of the conversation. Yet if nothing changes in 2 years' time, the City of Boston's state education aid will fall to 0. And it's not only Boston. Cities and towns across the state face similar decline and a similar dilemma. That's why this year we're joining mayors from Greater Boston and all over and 100 legislators from across the state to advocate for a solution that provides funding for every district in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, a solution that is affordable and does not require 1 cent of new revenue. And most important, a solution that would finally take politics out of the conversation so we can stop pitting city against town and district against charter and start meeting all of the needs of our students. Let me put it this way to you. The last major reform was in 1993. If we're going to do this every 26 years, once a generation, then in this generation, we cannot leave out our most vulnerable students, whether they're in Boston or Brockton, Medford or Melrose, or anywhere else. Every young person deserves the same opportunity to learn, to dream, and to thrive. In the meantime, our search for the next superintendent of Boston Public Schools is moving forward. Whoever we select, we're going to charge them with driving deep reforms to unlock our system and our students' full potential. And we're going to make sure they have the tools they need to be successful. We have advanced bold solutions to meet the biggest challenges. That's what it means for a city to work in the 21st century. And we need every level of government, every industry, and every individual in our region to move forward with us. That's because this work is more than plans, policies, and investments. They are all essential. We need to do the work that we do to create opportunities and change people's lives. We work to be that city where a kid with a tough challenge gets a real chance, where a person who lived on the streets finds compassion in a home, where a great job is just a train or bus ride away, and where hardworking families can create bright futures for their children in safe and healthy neighborhoods. That's the vision that calls us all together. That's the work that we must keep doing every single day. I want to thank you, I want to God bless you, and God bless the city of Boston. Thank you. Yeah.
Would you like to take some questions?
Absolutely.
Terrific. So I'll have one for you first.
All right. Pam's first question to me.
Pam's first question. So transportation, progress can be made regionally. Education, talk about partnering with other communities that are challenged by the state's funding formula. And we know also there's been some work on creating more housing and shared goals with some other communities. What can we expect from that as it progresses?
As far as regional?
As far as the regional focus on housing. Yes.
Well, last night I went to an event with the Metropolitan Planning Council, and there was a great beginning of a planning study that they're doing in the Massachusetts Greater Boston area. And one of the foundations they're building it off of is housing. The Mass Metro Mayors Coalition, we launched last year that we were going to create 185,000 new homes by the year 2030. 69,000 of those will come out of the city of Boston. And I think that we're seeing real partnerships around housing, around economic development, around transit and education. And I think there's more collaborating going on now with the different agencies. And that includes legislators as well. Having us all come together, I think finding solutions and regional solutions is the way forward. Boston is not a silo. When we think about the MBTA, we need to work with Steve Poftak and the MBTA because what they do in Boston affects Somerville and affects other cities and towns. So we really have to continue this regional collaboration as far as planning and investment.
Terrific. Thank you. Do we have any questions from the audience? I know there's a couple of microphones out there that are available. This is your opportunity. No?
No questions.
No tough questions.
Well, that's all right.
You guys are letting them off easy, and it's my first time trying to do this.
Well, let me just say to end unofficially the speech, I want to congratulate you, Pam, on becoming the new leader here, and I do want to say to Sam once again, thank you for your years of service. A lot of people in this room, you come to the breakfast because you're asked to come to the breakfast, but the Bureau works very closely with us on trends and investments and how we do contracting and how we do budgeting and how we do contract negotiations. And there's a lot of important information that goes back and forth. So when I think about the city, the people in this room, including the Bureau, are really the people who make up the city. So again, to Sam Tyler, congratulations, Sam, on your retirement. And to Pam, welcome and good luck as we continue this journey.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
So I just want to say thank you for joining us today. It has definitely been a landmark day, very exciting for all of us in many ways, but we look forward to continuing to work with all of you in this room. Thank you for joining us, and enjoy the rest of your day.